Welcome to Supersize versus Superskinny. Checking into the feeding clinic is king of the monster portions, James.
I love food so much that I can actually eat and eat and eat until my body can't take anymore.
An uninterested undereater, Madassa.
Where food's concerned, it's more of something that needs to be done rather than enjoyment.
Tonight, in one of the tensest swaps ever, both Supersize and Superskinny are pushed to breaking point.
I'm too hungry, I can't wait to eat that.
You can only eat so much. That's just pure greed.
James meets the 32-stone American who's cheating his gastric band, despite life-threatening illness and incontinence.
In the last 20 years, this is like the 10th bed I've had.
Really?
And at the end of their 8-week course, eating disorder sufferers Emma and Mina look to the future.
I'm going to beat this. I want a life without it.
This week's Supersizer is 32-year-old second-hand car dealer James Collier from West Sussex.
I love food. I love the taste, I love the smell.
From gigantic greasy fry-ups to colossal curries, there's nothing James loves more than tucking into a series of supersized portions, sometimes getting through 4 platefuls in a sitting.
My portion size is a lot larger than what I'd call a normal size. My wife does me normal size portions and I always walk up to her and I tell her to put more on.
And with a mountain of greasy snacks, ice cream and takeaways on the menu, James has made it his business to ensure he never goes without, by any means necessary.
I always go for seconds. If there is no seconds available, I start to nick the food off my children's plate.
He would always go and take something off their plate. If I've not finished my dinner, he will finish off mine as well. He does eat quite a bit.
And when he isn't stuffing himself silly, James is drowning himself in sugary squash.
On a normal day, I drink about 6 litres of fruit squash. I don't know what it is about it, I just love it.
So with his tank crammed full and his engine flooded, how does James feel about the state of his bodywork?
I feel really embarrassed about my size and weight. I hate my man boobs and I hate my belly. When I take the kids to the park now, after chasing them for a couple of minutes, I just get big stitch, out of breath and can't breathe, have to stop and have a rest. And my greatest fear is that I will have a heart attack and I won't see my children again.
James, hi.
It's time to slam on the brakes and meet Dr. Christian Jessen for a full MOT.
All right, take a step forward.
At 6 feet tall, James's ideal weight lies between 13 stone 2 and 15 stone 12. At a scale-shuddering 24 stone 6, James is almost 8.5 stone overweight.
At your age, how old are you now? 32?
32, yeah.
It's quite a lot. It gives you a BMI of about 45.
At 45, James's BMI puts him well into the morbidly obese category, and there's a host of related health issues he's not even aware of.
Your cholesterol's pretty spectacular. 6.2 for a 32-year-old is pretty high.
Is it?
Yep, absolutely it is. In fact, all your blood fat levels are all deranged all over the place, which quite frankly, given your size, doesn't surprise me. It's a warning sign saying the problems are being laid down now and they will hit you in the next 5, 10, 15 years.
James clearly needs help getting in touch with his inner skinny. So step forward 31-year-old credit controller Madassa from Burton-on-Trent. At a third of James's weight, Madassa's worried himself to a frazzle over his super slimline frame.
When I think about comparing myself to other people, my age, my height, I don't believe it's the norm. I don't feel normal. It's very difficult in all parts of life, really. Basics with clothes shopping, because their small size just starts from a lot higher than what I am.
But with his erratic eating habits, it's little wonder Madassa falls short of his ideal size.
I do have a tendency to leave food in my mind. I get to a point where I just feel I'm just totally full and I just can't eat anymore, so that is when I just have to just literally stop.
And that's not all.
If I'm stressed, food is the last thing I actually think about, just because I just don't feel hungry.
Despite skipping meals and rarely finishing his dinner, Madassa remains mystified by the source of his slenderness.
In the past, I've actually tried a couple of different diets. First thing I tried was eating as much unhealthy food as possible. I just didn't gain not a single pound. And then I totally went on the level of eating healthy. I actually lost a stone. constantly ask yourself why you can't do it. Why can't you put weight on? It really gets you angry.
It's time to begin unravelling Madassa's mealtime conundrum with a visit to Dr. Christian. At 5'9" and a super skinny 8 stone 3, Madassa is almost 2 stone beneath his maximum healthy weight of 9 stone 11.
You know, you're definitely under where you should be, but tell me why this is.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I've always been kind of like the same sort of weight, same sort of build. I can't really think of anything specifically that's actually affecting it.
Might it be that you don't eat very much, maybe? Just as a clue there for you. Do you think, or do you not agree with that?
My brain tells me I eat enough.
Dr. Christian has twigged that despite believing his diet's fine, undereating is still at the root of Madassa's problems. So for the next 5 days, he and James will be swapping diets to encourage James to eat less while proving to Madassa he can eat more. But before finding out what they'll be eating, it's time for Superskinny to meet Supersize.
See the ribs and everything. I've seen my ribs for years. There's nothing to him, so it doesn't look like he ever eats.
Nothing to compare, really. They'll like, put mine two together.
Yeah.
Mix what your wrist. He's really overweight, overeating, hungry pig, hippo.
Now they've sized each other up, it's time to find out exactly how they've eaten themselves to opposite extremes.
You, Madassa, let's have a look at the sort of breakfast you eat. Here we go. You don't eat a lot, do you? Well, I tell you what, I won't comment. Let's ask James.
Is that 1 week's worth?
That is now, yeah.
Okay, I'll probably eat that in a day, probably.
That's probably one breakfast.
Yeah.
What's the next meal? Lunch?
Lunchtime.
Some sort of chicken curry with rice. Chips? Couple of sandwiches, I think. Some crisps and chocolate bar. How do you feel looking at that and thinking about your weight and your diet?
Well, I think if, I don't know, the average person at that, you'd put some weight on.
Do you think? OK, hold that thought. Let's have a look at dinner. That looks like chips, beans and probably a bit of battered fish. They look exactly the same as your lunches, don't they, quite frankly? Do you enjoy eating this?
Yeah.
You do?
Rice is healthy for you, a bit of fatty food with the chips. So I think it's like balanced out, really.
OK, just hold on a minute. Why are you here?
Because I want to put weight on.
So defending your diet now is not going to cut the mustard with me. There's something wrong with this, isn't there?
Indeed there is. At 1,300 calories a day, Madassa's minuscule portions add up to the recommended intake for a 3-year-old boy.
So not only is it really under in the amount of calories it should contain, but also actually it's under in every vitamin and mineral and phytonutrient that you should be getting. So is this a healthy diet? Is this a balanced diet? No, it's definitely not.
I did actually think mine was average, but obviously being told it's well under is something that hasn't actually sunk in yet.
James?
Yeah.
Shall we have a look at yours?
No.
No? Well, we're going to anyway. Breakfast? So, cereal with blueberries and crumpets. Oh, that's quite different. A huge fry-up with everything. Let's have a look and move on to lunches. OK, now this is quite phenomenal. Probably half of one of those baguettes is a kind of normal-sized sandwich for one guy.
What, one?
Half of one.
Half of one.
Let's have a look at some more lunches. Tuna pasta salad. Roast beef, Yorkshire pudding, lots of vegetables. That's kind of a big lunch.
Well, at least James is eating his greens.
Do you think that you're slightly not seeing what's actually there?
I would say, yes, a little bit too much, but not majorly over.
Not majorly over.
Like Madassa, it seems James is living on planet denial. And his colossal dinners are still to come.
Well, I think that's just about taken us up to the top of the tube, really, hasn't it? Yeah, huge, huge, huge quantity. What do you tend to drink?
Fruit squash.
Fruit squash, let's put it in.
The 6 litres of squash James drinks every day pack a 1,500 calorie punch. By cutting the sugary drinks from his diet, James would lose 3 pounds a week.
You're averaging about 10,000 calories a day. A day. And on your worst day, you hit 12,000 calories.
Gorging on over 10,000 calories a day, James is eating for up to 5 adults. That's 8 Madassas.
Fat, you're getting about 4 to 5 times more fat than you need. That's about 500 grams of fat a day. It's essentially the equivalent of drinking, hold that, a pint of oil a day. So, what do you think? Quite disgusting, huh?
Yeah.
Excessive consumption of oil or fats increases the risk of developing heart disease and diabetes, high blood pressure and cholesterol. To cut back, steam food instead of frying it. Choose low-fat spreads over butter, and try fruit toppings on toast instead of pastries.
Very shocked. No way did I think I'd be able to fill it up.
This week's feeding clinic inmates are portion monster James at 24 stone 6, and at a third of his weight, under-eater Madassa. It's their first night in the feeding clinic, and the guys are about to face their first diet swap dinner.
Heap the plate right up.
You really eat all that?
Yeah.
All in one go?
Yeah.
This is not like throughout the day?
No. This is one sitting.
To kick off, it's half a 9-inch pizza for James, while for Madassa, it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3, no, it's 4 whopping platefuls of Thai buffet.
This is just like proper excessive.
While Madassa's small portions will hopefully show James he can survive on far less, James's 4 mega platefuls should prove to Madassa he can eat a lot more. In theory.
It's mad.
My kids would eat bigger than that.
Serious.
When they're 3 and 4 years old.
With their attitudes to food at polar opposites, it's time for James and Madassa to discuss the one thing they have in common.
I'm here because I believe there is a reason why I'm underweight, but I don't necessarily believe that it's my food quantities that's causing that. I don't honestly believe that.
Did you not feel if you ate more food you'd put on any weight?
Probably not.
I'm the same as you. I don't see my eating problem as the reason why I'm that big.
Denial all round again then, and with James's half pizza demolished, while Madassa has barely touched his takeaway, it's obvious these two need a big wake-up call.
You just don't eat that kind of food for one person. It's just, I don't know, to me that's greed. It's just pure greed.
Wasn't enough for me at all. Gonna be really hard this week. A lot harder than I thought. A lot harder.
It's morning, and after a tricky first night, Madassa and James are gearing up for their first full day of diet swapping.
Just woke up, feeling really hungry. Stomach was growling all night. I got up a few times thinking about food. But yeah, just can't wait till breakfast now.
I mean, last night I was really, really bloated. Actually, surprised, I think I might be feeling more hungry than normal.
Let's hope so, Madassa. You're about to face one of James's stomach-stretching fry-ups.
Do you think you get through all that?
Well, I can give it a go.
James is about to learn that patience is a virtue.
I'm missing something.
Unfortunately, it's one of them days where I don't have any breakfast.
Plenty of time to watch Madassa eating his then, James.
This is hurting me now, watching you eat that. I don't want to look. If I ever was sitting and watching someone eat and not being able to eat myself, come lunchtime I would go and eat 2 or 3 portions to make up for it.
I can't understand how you can get so full and yet still say, I'll double the portions up again and fill myself up again. Do you not get to the point where you think, right, I've had enough, I feel sick, my stomach's actually full, I can't physically eat anymore?
Never.
Your stomach's like an endless pit. That's shocking. That's shocking, that is.
Watching him play with the food, I felt like just picking the fork up for him, shoving it down his throat and just telling him to eat. I feel really jealous, to be honest with you.
And if James has already suffered a touch of the green-eyed monster, this is where Madassa might start to feel a bit green around the gills.
It's what I normally have for a mid-morning snack.
Mid-morning snack?
That's right. Between his full English and lunch, James likes to squeeze in the odd burger with chicken nuggets and chips.
This is not a snack.
Maybe not for you, Madassa, But the switch from colossal portions to empty plates has sent James's blood sugar plummeting, along with his patience.
Right, I'm going to leave you because I can't watch you eat it. I'm too hungry.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
don't you think you should have a bit more willpower to like stick it out a bit longer?
I think I should, yeah, but I
Push the
can't.
boundary a little.
I'm too hungry. I can't watch you eat that. Sorry, but I had to walk out because I couldn't look at food no more. If I looked at it anymore, I just would have grabbed it and run away with it.
Walking out might have worked for James, but being abandoned with a snack 3 times the size of his average main meal has pushed Madassa to the edge as well.
My chances of finishing this are 0. To even consider this as a snack, I just wouldn't. It's just way too much. I just feel pissed off right now, mega, because trying to push yourself with something that you can call a snack is something what you try, but not by, like, putting another main meal in front of somebody like that. It's not right. You can only eat so much. That's just pure greed.
For the diet swap to work, both partners need to learn from watching someone else follow their eating regime. James's portions might have driven Madassa to tears, but by walking away, James shows a serious lack of commitment. To keep him on course, Dr. Christian wants to give him a glimpse of the future if he doesn't change.
I'm Mike. I'm 32 stone. I'm 54 years old. I started overeating when I was a child. I felt like when my parents punished me, the comfort was to eat. As I grew older in my life, I'd order a pizza, ended up eating 2 pizzas. When I got into law enforcement, I got into working late nights, and I would eat to stay awake. Cookies and donuts and crackers, the stuff that makes you fat. The day I had an accident, I had driven over 200 miles, and I fell asleep, and the state trooper figured I drove for two miles sound asleep. That caused a big accident, and they took me to the hospital and had me do testing and all, and that's how I found out I had sleep apnea, which is due mainly to my obesity. When I went on the scales at the hospital, I thought I weighed 40 stone, and I realized then that I weighed 53 stone. They put me on a CPAP with the oxygenator set at the highest levels, because I was the worst case that they had ever seen. It made me feel sad. My dad died at 62, and I want to live more than 62 years old. As being big myself, for the amount of weight I carry, in the bathroom, I soap up. I put all the soap on my body, using liquid soap while I'm still sitting on the toilet, rather than have to stand longer. I would love to be able to take a bath, but I'd probably have to call somebody for help to get out of the bathtub. I finally received a gastric bypass in May of 2006, and I lost almost 300 pounds. But then I started gaining weight again because I went back to my old eating habits, and I had the lap band put on in April of 2010. I'm cheating myself. I'm sending myself to an early grave. If I don't get myself back on track, I'll be looking for a casket. I don't have a lady in my life, a girlfriend. I have friends that are girls, but I don't have any lovers. The last time I had real sex was about 30 years ago. Sometimes we get to a point that we're ashamed of our own bodies. You have to decide that it's time to lose some weight to live longer. James, at the age of what you are now, my health got really bad. The doctor told me to expect not to live longer than a couple months. I lost my job. I know you're a father and you have a child on the way. If you don't make a difference now, those children are going to follow your example and they're going to get big. If you want to make a difference in your life and your family's life, make a difference now.
Very shocking. So I come at the right time then, really.
What you're doing is already there.
Same as him.
It's the same as him. And the outcome will be the same as his outcome, yeah? So I want to send you off to America to go and see him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And spend some time with him and meet him and see how disabled he is by his weight.
It's lunchtime, and after his dramatic mid-morning walkout, James is back and ready to face his first meal of the day, a small plate of chicken biryani.
Well, glad to see that you're eating something.
But as Madassa tucks into his supersized serving of fried chicken, coleslaw and rice, the earlier tensions come flooding back.
You couldn't face watching me eat earlier on. That just really got to me big time. You really, really need to understand the fact that your portions are not right. They are not even slightly out of control, they are way out of control.
I feel exactly the same way about you, as in, you know, I just had to walk away earlier because I couldn't look at the food because I was so hungry, felt physically ill. So if that's how I feel, then surely you must feel the same way through the day by not eating enough food.
I think that's a no, James. With our Supersize and Superskinny at stalemate again, it's time for a trip down memory lane to discover where their problems with food began.
I was like 11 or 12 years old there, and you can tell that I've really started to put the weight on. Up until I was about 16, I suppose, I was putting probably a stone on a year. Early 20s, I started getting into bodybuilding, and then I started eating a lot more. And then I met my wife. I just started to go less and less to the gym. And then obviously just really started to put the weight on again. And as you can see from this picture, I think that was one of my heaviest times. I was about 28 and a half stone there.
That is heavy.
Yeah.
That is really heavy.
They used to call me the human dustbin and things like that. And I think that I need to get it sorted in my own head. Think, no, I want to eat this much because that's the right amount for me, and so I'm not overweight. Do you know what I mean?
So hoping obviously in time that people around you will see the fact. You want to make the right change.
Definitely.
As James realises he'll need the support of friends and family to change, Madassa makes a connection between his emotions and his diet.
And this photo here, probably about 20. I'd left home by that time, so that was like a big change for me, leaving home, finding work. Back then my emotions were like up and down, major up and down. So it was like a constant thing on my head, so think, and then like you forget about your normal day-to-day things that you need to do, including eating.
I suppose it's like the opposite for you when you're feeling down, you don't eat, but when I'm feeling down, I sort of look to having something to eat.
See, I can't grasp that idea at all, because it's like, when you're on a down, it's, I don't know, everything comes to a standstill. The thing, I suppose, looking back at it now, I think there is a certain element of neglect there on my own part, which I don't think I actually acknowledged that before.
Coming up, Madassa comes face to face with the damage he could be doing to his body.
It's actually shocking, really. It's just a simple factor of being underweight.
And 8 weeks on, our eating disorders group are finally looking forwards.
It'd be so nice just to sit down and eat what I feel like, when I feel like.
Here's to the future. Health and happiness in the future.
It's day 3 in the feeding clinic, and super skinny under-eater Madassa is about to have his mind blown by an extra large curry and a family-sized tub of trifle.
Bit of a surprise for you.
What's that?
It's 2 lots of that.
You're joking. How you can manage to eat all that, plus dessert, and knock back drink as well on top of that, is beyond me.
Faced with 2 small dry samosas and chips, James is feeling equally unenthusiastic.
This portion still seems really small for an evening meal.
James might be unimpressed with the portions, but for Madassa, watching someone else eat his meals is revealing to him where he goes wrong at home.
The thing that I'm beginning to acknowledge now is the tiredness factor. I'm feeling tired, that's killing my hunger as well.
Because your body's eating all of your energy, isn't it?
Looks like Madass has finally begun to realise there might be a relationship between his lifestyle, his lousy eating habits, and his weight.
Come on in, Madassa.
To drive the message home, Dr. Christian wants to show him some of the conditions he and all undereaters risk developing if they don't get the nutrients they need.
With you, it's not just about weight. With the amounts that you're eating, you're not actually getting enough of virtually all of the important minerals and nutrients that you need, and long-term, that can lead to problems. This is all about fibre. If you don't have enough fibre, this is one of the conditions that you can develop, and this is called diverticulitis. And these are little hernia through the muscular wall of the gut. And you can imagine food gets stuck in those, and it gets infected, and it gets extremely agonisingly painful, and it bleeds.
Good dietary sources of fibre include pulses, whole grains, oats, apples and pears. All cheap and easily available, but sadly lacking from Madassa's diet.
This slightly different picture.
Green stuff on somebody's face.
It's really quite hard, isn't it? Yeah. This is a condition called seborrheic dermatitis, and it's a sort of build-up of skin flakes plus greases and oils that form these really not very nice white plaque. One of the causes of this is a deficiency in a vitamin called riboflavin, vitamin B2. And you find that in cereals and milk and animal products. If you eat very small quantities, if you're only getting 1,300 calories a day, you are deficient in this. Okay, one more, which is over here. And this is a disease that we don't see so commonly in this country, but we absolutely do see quite a lot in South America. And it's a disease called pellagra. And it's caused by deficiency in a vitamin called vitamin B3, or niacin.
Vitamin B3 or niacin is found in beans, fish, yeast and tomatoes.
This is not a nice disease. We doctors remember it by the 4 Ds.
Okay.
Dermatitis, which is this, diarrhea, dementia, and death. You are deficient in this, so you let that carry on to extreme levels, and you might start noticing problems with your skin. And what's the answer to all of this?
Eat more.
Essentially, it's as simple as that.
It's actually shocking, really. I thought it was just a simple factor of being underweight. It's definitely encouraging me to do something about it now, than leave it till later.
Another day, another dinner. And while James contemplates an empty plate,
I don't know how you survive on it. Really don't.
Madassa seems, finally, to be taking Dr. Christian's advice as he tackles his extra-large doner kebab.
I think what's actually surprised me today about myself would be the way I think about food and about the amount that I can actually consume. Putting it down to that, I've never really had that push.
Go a little bit extra.
Yeah, go a bit extra, you know what I mean? It'll do you good, that type of thing. You're always told never to eat more than what your body needs because it's just greed.
But you're under eating and you're not getting enough calories a day, hence being underweight. Same as me, I'm eating 5,000, 6,000 calories too much per day, hence why I'm overweight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm totally done now, totally full. Don't look it, but feels it. Thank you.
It looks like the pennies dropped for our diet swappers, but for the 1.6 million eating disorder sufferers in Britain, anxiety and unhealthy eating habits have escalated into serious illness. 8 weeks ago, we helped 3 women with eating disorders embark on a course of treatment to set them on the way to full recovery. 32-year-old Meena Krishnan suffers from bulimia, 34-year-old Emma Paul has anorexia nervosa, and 19-year-old Erin Ruddick straddles both illnesses with a condition called anorexia binge-purge subtype. With the help of dietitian Ursula Philpott and consultant psychiatrist Dr. Helena Fox, the women have addressed their biggest food fears and negative body images.
I can't really think of desserts in terms of keeping it down.
I want to be thin, but I don't want to be thin. I'm constantly thinking about food.
After 6 weeks on the course, Erin had an epiphany.
I just think it's made me realise how bad I really am. And I think I've been in complete denial about the extent.
This realisation was confirmed when she collapsed and was admitted to hospital.
It was quite scary for me. My hands turned blue and spasmed a bit. I felt kind of outside of myself.
Over the next few days, Erin's physical and mental condition was monitored, and the professional advice was that she should stay at home to build up her strength before continuing any further treatment.
Facing up to the realities of an eating disorder is a really important step on the road to recovery. She'll now be able to go on and get the more intensive support that she needs.
Today, Emma and Mina are meeting Ursula for the last time. Their final challenge is to share a restaurant meal together, something people with eating disorders find incredibly hard and often avoid.
Ordering off a menu's something I haven't found easy. I think it's a lot of my anorexia when I'm reading a menu of where the carbs are, the fat is. And
I guess what you're saying is rather than looking at the menu and thinking, oh, that's what I fancy, or I'd like the taste of that, actually, you tend to look at it and think, what's the nutritional composition?
Yes.
Yeah.
The 8-week course has been incredibly tough for Emma. A few weeks ago, even eating a pasta salad was a real struggle.
You can't do any more?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
But last week, Emma had a major breakthrough. It was time to silence the inner critic she'd named Ed.
Yesterday, I made a promise that I was not going to say
Ed thinks this or feels
anymore.
this.
So that word is no longer going to be said.
At the beginning, Emma was very defended and very stark, but she's used the support well and is now gaining weight and taking risks with her food.
Today, Ursula's upped the stakes by challenging the women to choose 2 courses from the menu.
Something I do find pretty difficult is having more than one course. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a difficulty today, I think.
You shouldn't worry about not ordering them because you're not going to finish them, but really view it as, I'll have a taste at least.
Mina's succeeded in ordering a starter and a main, while Emma's plucked up the courage to order a main course and a dessert. Good signs that her attitudes to food have begun a fundamental shift.
But thinking back about the sessions, what do you think the most difficult ones were for you?
Most difficult? I think they've all been difficult. So yeah, 2 months ago I would have just given up on this because it's gone cold. No. I'm still eating it even though it's gone cold.
For Mina, the 8 weeks have been generally positive. She's been a great support for her peers and started to understand her condition better. But she's still battling her desire to binge.
If it were just the crumble and me in a room and no one else around, one of us wouldn't make it.
We just need to break that cycle of the binging and purging, and it seems that you're going to need more intensive support to do that, and probably something like a symptom interruption program where you would go into hospital for an elected amount of time to break the cycle.
Recovery includes an ongoing commitment to practicing behavioural changes, challenging thoughts, increasing motivation, having a lot of encouragement from therapists and ongoing commitment from the sufferers.
After finishing their 2-course dinner and successfully completing their 8-week course, Mina and Emma have made significant progress towards a healthier future.
The average length of recovery for somebody with an eating disorder is around 7 years, so to get any behaviour change in 8 weeks is really significant for these girls.
I'm going to beat this. I want a life without it. I really desperately want a life without it. It'd be so nice just to sit down and eat what I feel like, when I feel like.
Because it's got me thinking more about the eating disorder and what to do about it, it's perhaps given me a bit more determination and optimism for the future.
Here's to the future.
Health and happiness in the future.
If you've been affected by any of the issues raised, visit channel4.com/Supersize v Superskinny. Back in the feeding clinic, it's the final morning, and over a small portion of cereal for James and a large muesli with fruit and hot oats for Madassa, the guys seem finally to have discovered their enthusiasm for the task ahead.
Oh, slow down, it's not a race. I don't think I'd even eat it that quick.
Yeah.
You're doing what I used to do now.
What's that?
You've got the next mouthful ready before you've even finished.
It's all thinking in your bad habits.
I've definitely realised I have to reduce my portions, and that is it.
I feel really good within myself that I've actually tried compared to when I first actually came here at the beginning of the week, and I think I've pushed past my original boundaries, so I think it's an achievement within itself.
It seems our diet disasters have finally seen the light. Having reached the end of their stay in the feeding clinic, James and Madassa will be leaving with 12-week tailor-made healthy eating plans.
Being here for this week, it's flipped a switch in my head. You know, I know that my body can go without food now. If I miss a meal, I don't have to double up on the next meal.
There's been a roller coaster of emotions involved. If I've come through so far, I can't see myself backing out. I really want to carry on to see whether it makes a difference or not. This is it.
That's it, week over. Lovely to meet you.
You too, matey. Hope it goes well for you.
I'm hoping that once my friends and family see this, they're actually going to help me along. You know, they won't always see me as Big Jim, the human dustbin.
America has the highest levels of obesity in the world, with a third of the population now clinically overweight. With almost a quarter of Britons now classified as obese, we're not far behind. So James has come to Florida to meet 32-stone Mike and see for himself the future he faces if he doesn't stop overeating.
The reason I'm here is to meet Mike, look at him and think I do not want to look in the mirror and see myself like that, and that is it.
Hi.
Hi, Mike, how you doing?
How you doing? Welcome to America.
Like James, Mike spends most of his free time in front of the TV or internet. The difference is he's had to reinforce his chair.
This is my chair.
Homemade.
Yeah, try it out.
Yeah.
This is where I do most of my living. My computer's here, the TV's here, and everything today is remote control,
Yeah.
so...
I suppose once you're sat down here, you don't have to get up at all unless
someone gets something to eat or drink or go to the bathroom. Can I sit down for a minute?
Yeah.
Even at 500 pounds, I still have trouble standing up a lot or walking a lot.
Mike's legs have paid a terrible price in struggling to support his weight.
If you keep gaining weight, my legs, I retain water.
Right.
And discoloration is for poor circulation. And I've had times the skin opens up and starts oozing. It smells like hell. And it takes forever to heal back up. In the morning, my toes they look pretty good now, but sometimes they're like dark purple from poor circulation.
Right. Looking at his toes, there was green, purple, yeah, all sort of colours all over his toes. It was disgusting.
Mike's already undergone gastric bypass and gastric band operations to restrict his eating capacity. But his dysfunctional relationship with food has led him to abuse slider foods.
I'm getting a little hungry, so I'm going to make something to eat.
Slider foods are pureed meals that fool the stomach into feeling empty while maintaining a high calorie intake.
To me, that food just don't seem right. Do you not think you're just cheating yourself?
Yes, I am cheating myself, but I want to enjoy life also.
Yeah, but surely you'd enjoy life more if you lost a lot more weight.
While life-threatening medical problems have brought Mike close to death, obesity-related incontinence has wrecked his quality of life.
One of the things that is probably a bad habit, but I have to do is, because my belly's so big and it overhangs, I have trouble standing up and going to the bathroom. So I have cups that I'm alone, so it's not embarrassing to just drop my drawers here and tinkle in the cup and pour it out.
In the kitchen?
I do it here in the kitchen and then in the bathroom too. And in fact, I have people that won't even come in the house anymore because they say they can smell that.
It's really unhygienic, isn't it?
These are just habits that when you get past a certain weight, that you have to realize you have to accommodate yourself to make your life easier.
And Mike's struggles with hygiene don't end there.
Because of body problems, body waste and all, it just gets stained after a while.
Is that because you haven't got time to get there because it just comes out?
Yeah, and this was just from being obese, being fat and all. It's just one of the major problems. In the last 20 years, this is like the 10th bed I've had.
Really? You go through 2 beds?
I go through beds a lot.
I always knew that coming here to see Mike would help me. It's worked tenfold because it's a horrible way to live and I could never see myself living like that.
You see all the difficulties, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, how life is for me.
Just coming on this trip and meeting you, I really appreciate that.
Life is short, and to enjoy it, we have to be healthy.
I will try my hardest to lose the weight and get healthy if you will try to stay away from the slider foods and stop cheating yourself, basically. Is that something that we could do?
Yeah, and
Shake on it? Deal.
that'd be great.
After seeing Mike, I'm so determined not to end up like him, and I need to sort my diet out now. I know that.
So a few months later, has James managed to shift any weight, and has Madassa put any on? They're back to find out.
I'm very nervous about finding out my weight today. I know that I've lost weight. I've had to buy a new belt, new clothes, jeans, you know, so anxious to find out now.
James, welcome back. So, have things now changed?
The biggest thing is the portion sizes that I've changed.
Would you say things are improving now?
I take the children out to the beach every day, have a walk with them. I go to the gym every day now as well.
And so after all of this hard work, do you think you've lost any weight?
I'm hoping to have lost weight. I've definitely lost size around my waist.
Okay.
But what about mini meal Madassa?
So tell me what's different now about your diet. What are you eating that you weren't before?
Straight away, the snacking bit, because I never used to snack before, slowly started to increase my meal portions.
It sounds like you've made a big change, actually. The amount of calories you're now taking will be significantly more.
Yeah.
I suppose the key question, really, though, is how do you feel now? Do you feel different? Do you feel better?
Definitely. I think compared to before, I feel more hyper.
Good. Great.
Generally, I feel more healthier as well.
You
I
do.
feel good about myself.
Before Dr. Christian reveals their results, it's time for Madassa and James to meet again.
Looking well? Yeah. Looking well. Putting a bit of weight on.
Have you noticed?
Yeah. See in your face.
That's brilliant. That's a good start. I reckon you lost a bit.
I hope I have.
Well, guys, what can I say to you both? The thing that strikes me most about you two, actually, is not necessarily any weight changes, is that you both look much healthier. Your sort of skin looks better and you look brighter. So, Matt, I'm going to put you out of your misery straight away and tell you you've put on a whopping 8 pounds. Are you pleased with that?
I'm well impressed with that, yeah.
So that was a fantastic effort. James, you've got a lot to live up to now, hey? No pressure? There's a reason why your trousers are slipping, and that is because you have lost 4 inches around your middle and 1 stone, 8 pounds in weight in total. Pleased?
Very pleased.
You should be.
Yeah.
You absolutely should be. You are now becoming more and more healthy each day that you go on with this.
I'm really happy about the weight. I didn't think it was going to be as much. I thought I probably would have lost about half a stone, but really happy. It's definitely made it all worth it. It's definitely given me the kick up the bum that I needed.
Hearing how much I have actually gained is actually, I'm actually impressed with myself. So it's been a real good experience. There's no way coming this far that I'm going to allow myself to slip back.
If you're over or underweight and you'd like to appear in the next series of Supersize versus Superskinny, or you have a child with worrying eating habits who'd like to take part in Supersize versus Superskinny Kids, log on to channel4.com/take part for an application form.
He's back in the US, this time taking on appalling diets in LA. Jamie's food revolution hits Hollywood tonight at 10. And before that, a wealthy pensioner who loves her open-top sports car wants to make a difference in North London. Secret Millionaire is next on 4.